Okay, everybody, today I'm going to dive into. I'm going to warn you now, there's going to be some gruesome pictures. I don't like to hide those pictures because I feel like, for one, curiosity, for two, it's something you can Google anyway if you really wanted to. Three, I feel like it's very important to the case, especially this one, because they are the only pictures, as my Google on my other phone is being weird, that all of a sudden just pops up memories that show the boy. Like, there is no actual pictures of him. They've tried to make up pictures of him, but like, due to him being unknown, nobody really knows a non-picture of, like, a non-dead picture of him. So we're gonna go into The Boy in the Box. He's from Philadelphia. This is maybe kind of a short video because there's not a whole lot about him even to this day, and I mean, it happened in 1957. So, but like I said, I'm gonna dive into his case. So let's see here. They're not even sure what year he was born. They figure he was born between 1953 and 1951 and 1953. They found him February 1957, aged 4 to 6 years old. He passed away of homicide, of course. They found his body February 25th, 1957, at Fox Chase, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. His height was 3 foot 6 inches, or 1.07 meters. Alright, we're just going to go let's see here. We're just going to go down, and first we're going to talk about the discovery of the body. In February 1957, the boy's body, wrapped in a plaid blanket, was found in the woods at Susquehanna Road in Fox Chase, Philadelphia. As you know, I can't pronounce words. The naked body was inside a cardboard box, which had once contained a bassinet of the kind sold by J.C. Penney's. The boy's hair had been recently cropped, possibly after death, as clumps of his hair clung to the body. Which, like, why cut his hair, But we'll kind of get into theories. There were signs of severe malnourishment, as well as surgical scars on the ankle and groin, and an L-shaped scar under the chin. The body was first discovered by a young man who was checking his muskrat traps. Fearing that the police would confiscate his traps, he did not report what he had found. You're going to notice, like, different child murderers and stuff, like even, like, Casey Anthony and several others, that for some reason people find these bodies and they don't want to report them. Me, I hear a gunshot and I report it. Like, I don't understand why that would not be your first thought. Like, oh, I just found a dead body. Oh no, I got muskrat traps. I'm not going to turn it in. Like, isn't that a big deal? Fearing that the police would confiscate his traps, he did not report what he had found. Like, innocent child dead in a bassinet box. Like, a few days later, a college student spotted a rabbit running into the underbrush. Knowing that there were animal traps in the area, he stopped his car to investigate and discovered the body. He too was reluctant to have any contact with the police, but he did report that he had found the following day. And apparently my cat wants to be a part of the video. Excuse me. So yeah, the college student knew that there was traps around that area, so it must be a known thing that people put traps up there, so your muskrat traps aren't really that mysterious. But So he tries to, look after the rabbit, I guess. Let's see. Maybe he was trying to see if one of the traps got the rabbit or something. But he did finally report it to the police. Maybe he has traps down there too, along with the muskrat. Or, I mean, how does he know that there's traps unless it's a known, local thing? You know what I mean? Others must know that there's traps. Let's see. The investigation. The police received the report and opened an investigation on February 26, 1957. The dead boy's fingerprints were taken, and police at first were optimistic that he would soon be identified. What a way to start. Don't. However, no one ever came forward with any useful information. How does a child go missing and you don't know who he is? You know what I mean? I guess this was in the 50s and stuff, but you would think that, I don't know, I guess there's a lot of hush-hush back then too, but you would think that somebody would be like, yeah, that's Jim Bob's cousin or something, you know what I mean? The case attracted massive media attention in Philadelphia and Delaware Valley. The Philadelphia Inquirer printed 400,000 flyers depicting the boy's likeness, which were sent out and posted across the area, and were included with every gas bill in Philadelphia. Wow, they actually attached it to their gas bills, which is actually kind of a good idea. Other than the milk cartons, I never quite understood that, because you only get those in school. What kid is going to be like, oh, here's Joe, I recognize him. More adults are going to see more children around, you know what I mean? But the pictures that they posted at first were of the deceased child as deceased, I don't know how many people out there have actually seen a dead body, but they don't quite look the same as they did alive. Your skin changes, your skin tone changes, especially when he got hit in the head. We'll get into it in a minute. So, just different things like that. He's just going to look different. Let's see here. The crime scene was combed over and over again by 270 police academy recruits, who discovered a man's blue corduroy cap, a child's scarf, and a man's white handkerchief with the letter G in the corner, all clues that had led to nowhere. Police also described a post-mortem photograph of the boy distributed, oh my god, a post-mortem photograph of the boy fully dressed and in a seated position, as he may have looked in life. So, they try to pose this child in different ways. I mean, back then it wasn't as, now you have, computers that can change the face and, make them look more realistic. I mean, they could draw him, but it's not as easy. And hope that may lead to clues, despite the publicity and sporadic interest throughout the years. The boy's identity is still unknown. The case remains unsolved to this day. So, there hasn't really been any updates. I mean, there's really a few theories, but there's a few updates here. On March 21st, 2016, the National Centers for Missing and Exploited Children released a forensic facial reconstruction of the victim and added him into their database. Yeah, see, now they're able to start, making him look a little less dead. In August 2018, Barbara Ray Center, the genetic genealogist who helped to identify the Golden State Killer, which he was finally convicted, using a DNA profiling technique, said that she was using the same method to try to identify the boy in the box. Amateur groups that use online databases such as the Doe Network and Web Sleuths have also tried to solve the identity. How do you not, there is one theory of a person which I think is actually very possible. I'm sure we'll get into, but I think is who it was. Let's see here. Alrighty. Many tips and theories have been advised in the case, although most of these have been dismissed. Two theories have generated considerable interest among the police and media. They have each been extensively investigated. Sorry, my leg's falling asleep. Okay. The foster home. The theory concerns a foster home that was located approximately 1.5 miles, or 2.5 kilometers, from the site of the body. In 1960, Remington Bristow, an employee of the medical examiner office, who doggedly pursued the case until his death in 1993. What a word, doggedly. Contacted a New Jersey psychic who told him to look for a house that matched the foster home. When the psychic was brought to the Philadelphia Discovery site, she led Bristow directly to the foster home. I really do think sometimes psychics can be correct in cases. Sometimes they're not, kind of depends. Like, I don't think psychics can be 100% correct all the time. I mean, myself, I feel things, I see things, it makes it sound crazy. I can see ghosts and stuff. I've had dreams that have come true, I've premonitions of feelings, but I can't go and be like, John over here got murdered, and be right 100% of the time. There's always, a change, or maybe I'm feeling something different. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think they're 100% like all the time. Upon attending a estate sale at the foster home, Bristow discovered a bassinet similar to one sold at JCPenney's. I mean, JCPenney's, though, back then was like Sears, they're very popular. He also discovered blankets hanging on the clothesline that were similar to the one in which the boy's body had been wrapped. See, that's a little suspicious. Having this bassinet box but maybe they both were from JCPenney's and they were both pretty popular print, Bristow believed that the boy belonged to the stepdaughter of the man who ran the foster home, and that they disposed of the body so the stepdaughter would not be exposed to an unwed mother. He theorized the boy's death had been an accident. See, back then, like, I even had a nurse that I worked with, she said that she was sent away, she had the baby was adopted, nobody ever talked about it again. Back then, when you're not married, especially if you're a teenager, it was a big deal. Despite this circumstantial evidence, the police were not able to find any definite links between the boy in the box and the foster family. In 1998, Philadelphia Police Lieutenant Tom Aston, who was in charge of the investigation, and several members of the Vidocq Society, a group of retired policemen and profilers, interviewed the foster father and the stepdaughter whom he had married. The foster home investigators were closed. Who had married? Did the foster father marry the stepdaughter? It's kind of the way this article is being read. Because it says, okay, I want to know what you guys thought. Interviewed by the foster father and the stepdaughter whom he had married. That's kind of interesting. So maybe he was having sex with the stepdaughter and wanted to get rid of the baby. Especially if she was underage. The woman known as Martha or M. Another theory was brought forward in February 2002 by a woman identified only as Martha. Police consider Martha's story to be plausible, but were troubled by her testimony, as she had a history of mental illness. That doesn't mean anything. Maybe what she saw caused mental illness, but that doesn't mean everything she says is incorrect. I hate how they just continue, they just dismiss anybody with a mental illness as thoughts and theories and stories. M claimed that her abusive mother had purchased the unknown boy, whose name was Jonathan, from his birth parents in the summer of 1954. Subsequently, the boy was subjected to extreme physical and sexual abuse for 2.5 years. One evening at dinner, the boy vomited up his meal of baked beans and was given a severe beating, with his head slammed against the floor until he was semi-conscious. He was given a bath, during which he died. See, that's a lot of detail for her to have and not have actually seen something like that. You know what I mean? These details matched information known only to the police, as the coroner had found that the boy's stomach contained the remains of baked beans and his fingers were water wrinkled. See, this is the one case that I think was the truth. M's mother cut the boy's distinctive long hair, accounting for the unprofessional haircut which police noted in their initial investigation. See, how does she, like... That's why I think this one's the truth. In an effort to conceal his identity, M's mother forced M to assist her in dumping the boy's body in the Fox Chase area. M said that as they were preparing to remove the boy's body from the trunk of a car, a passing male motorist pulled alongside to inquire whether they needed help. M was ordered to stand in front of the car's license plate to shield it from view, while the mother convinced the would-be Good Samaritan that there was no problem. The man eventually drove off. The story corroborated confidential testimony given by a male witness in 1957 who said that the body had been placed in a box previously discarded at the scene. And despite of the outward plausible plausibility of M's confession, police were unable to verify her story. Neighbors who had access to M's house during the stated time period denied that there had been a young boy living there, and dismissed M's claims as ridiculous. I'm sorry, but if you don't want anybody to know that there's somebody there, especially back then, there's all kinds of places to hide somebody. There's cellars, you're not gonna know. And people were so private back then, really. Like, they had people that would hide their fucking disabled children in attics and stuff, and not even know about it. I mean, Rosemary Kennedy, nobody even knew about her. Like, later, they're like, well, we don't know what happened to her. Like, she just, disappeared. Forensic artist Frank Bender developed a theory that the victim may have been raised as a girl. The child's unprofessional haircut, which appeared to have been performed in haste, was the basis of the scenario, as well as the appearance of eyebrows having been styled. Okay. In 2008, Bender released a sketch of the unidentified child with long hair, reflecting the strands found on the body. In 2016, two writers, one from Los Angeles, California, Jim Hoffman, and the other from New Jersey, Louise Romano, explained they believed that they had discovered a potential identity from Memphis, Tennessee, and requested that DNA be compared between the family members and the child. The lead was originally discovered by a Philadelphia man who introduced Romano and Hoffman to each other, and was developed and presented with the help of Hoffman to the Philadelphia Police Department, and oh my gosh, the VIDOCQ Society. That police society that pretty much police loose. In early 2013. In December 2013, Romano became aware of the lead and agreed to help the man from Philadelphia and Hoffman to obtain the DNA from this particular family member. In January 2014, which sent quickly to the Philadelphia Police Department. Local authorities confirmed that they would investigate the lead, but said they would need to do more research on the circumstances surrounding the link to Memphis before comparing DNA. In December 2017, just run the damn DNA. What's it gonna hurt? I mean, yeah, it takes money, but why do you need more research? In December of 2017, Homicide Sergeant Bob Kellemer confirmed that the DNA taken from the Memphis man was compared to the Fox Chase boy, and there was no connection. Oh, that sucks. Never mind. I still think, though, that M's description of what happened. I mean, how does she know all this? Like, how was it dismissed? Is my opinion. Like, and you're gonna agree with all of what the neighbors said? Like they know everything. Let's see here. Where the boy in the box is buried. The boy in the box was originally buried in Potter's Field. That is so sad. Potter's Field, in case anybody doesn't know, Potter's Field is basically people that have not been... They're buried by the state or the government, and people that have not been identified or not have been that were poor, or their families didn't pick them up. Weren't able to bury them themselves. Let's see here. In 1998, his body was exhumed for the purpose of extracting DNA, which was obtained from enamel on a tooth. He was reburied at Ivy Hill Cemetery in Cedar Brook, Philadelphia, which donated a large plot. The coffin, headstone, and funeral service were donated by the son of the man who had buried the boy in 1957. Oh, that is awesome. There was a significant public attendance and media coverage at the reburial. So I'm confused. If his family, son of the man who had buried him before, then why was he in Potter's Field? Because usually if they're not, my brain is not working. Somebody doesn't identify, but somebody doesn't. Oh my god, I'm not thinking of the word. Somebody doesn't, like, oh my god. I mean, you know what I mean. Like, somebody doesn't pick up the body, somebody doesn't pay for it, or doesn't. Oh my gosh. Anyway, the grave has a large headstone bearing the words "America's Unknown Child." City residents keep the grave decorated with flowers and stuffed animals. See, that is really sweet. At least, like, he got something after death. But, you know, like, it's sad that, you know, he should have gotten more than what he got. Oh, come on now. Let's see if there's some more information anywhere. Oh, wait. There's a more updated one here. Here's one from November. Let's see here. An article from November. So that society, the VIDOCQ Society, believes they are close to figuring out the boy in the box in a 61-year-old Philly cold case. So he's been gone for 61 years, you guys. This is from CBS Philly. Let's see here. Philadelphia, CBS. A memorial service was held Wednesday after a little boy who's become known as America's Unknown. The boy was found dead 61 years ago in Philadelphia Fox Chase neighborhood. A lot of this might be repeated, but that's because I'm just reading the article to you guys. The Vedas Society is not giving up hope on figuring out who this boy is. The society says the sadness and tragedy is why America's unknown child stays in the forefront of people's minds. Why did this little child have to die? It's a horrible thing, said John Mulinix with the society. I'm tired of trying to just say that word. I mean, it's an acronym. Yeah, that's the word. VIDOCQ, but the child was found in a box back in 1957 off of Susquehanna Road in Fox Chase. The answer to the who did it or why never materialized. Meanwhile, he became known as the boy in the box. Police estimate he was between 4 to 6 years old. His death in Philadelphia Police Department longest open cold case. After an initial investigation, he was buried in the city cemetery. Then in 1998, his body was exhumed to test for DNA. He was buried at Ivy Hill Cemetery in a donated plot in November 11, 1998. When I come here, I feel his spirit, and he knows he is loved and he's missed. And we're going to put a name on the stone," said Bill Fletcher from the society. Now 61 years later, they say they're closer than ever to figure out who this boy is. There has been, within the last 6 months, extraordinary progress from sources all over the world, said Howard Lebufsky. The society hosts a memorial service every year for the boy. Wow, every year for 61 years. They are a group of independent investigators. They say advances in DNA technology is helping them in their quest to find out what happened. They say, if nothing else, his death was not in vain. Since 1957, child molestation, child abuse has been much more to the forefront of America's consciousness. Wow, than it was back then. Mulinsk said They think a break could come in a matter of months. Yeah, that was all of that one. Thought maybe they had a little bit more of an update. So I guess that's the most up to date. It's just another, no, that one's just an article. But it sounds like they're trying to put his DNA into the database and. So I guess the boy only weighed 30 to 40 pounds. He had blue eyes, medium light brown curly hair, and a fair complexion. He was with deep bruising on his head and body. His ribs were visible under his skin, and he had bloody and severely dry, chapped lips. He had surgical scarring on his ankle groin and had an L-shaped scar under his chin. The boy's body had clumps of hair on him, indicating his hair was cut after death. He had wrinkled hands and feet, showing that he was submerged in water for a long period of time before death. The last time he had eaten was 2 to 3 hours before death, and it is believed he may have had a chronic eye ailment. His cause of death was determined to be multiple blows to the head. The student that found the boy was 26-year-old Frederick Benosis. And so I guess he got out to make sure the guy that found him was making sure that the rabbit was safe. And stumbled upon the dead body in the box, but didn't call police right away. Oh, see, there's more to that story. It was later determined Frederick was in the woods to spy on the woman at the Good Shepherd School for Wayward Girls, and feared calling the police and incriminating himself. His guilt led him to call the police and report the body the next day. See, at least he felt guilty. And the boy's body was naked and wrapped in a cheap plaid blanket and had been stuffed in a bassinet box, a bassinet that came from J.C. Penney's, and only 12 had been sold in the area of Upper Darby. The police investigated every sale, but all boxes and bassinets were accounted for. But maybe he wasn't from Darby. Like, no missing children reports match the description near there, yeah. They printed off flyers. Sorry, I'm just like. See, in August 2018, genealogy expert Barbara Ray Venter, who used DNA to crack several other cases, including the Golden State Killer, said she would use DNA profiling to try to identify the boy. To this day, the boy still remains unknown. That foster family that they're talking about with was the first theory is the thought of a foster home run by Arthur Nicolati. Was the one that owned the foster. Let's see about the. I guess he refused a lie detector. I think the biological daughter. Let's see, baby born of wedlock by one of their biological daughters. They think he may have died accidentally, either falling from a window or drowning in a lake nearby because he was a secret grandchild. I believe he was disposed of the woods. Oh, a medical examiner who worked on the case, Remington Bristow, was one of the people who believed the family was involved. After the family moved away in 1961, they had an estate sale. One of the items found at the sale was a bassinet that would have come from the box that the boy was found in. See, so they both did. Both him and... wait, no, that's the same one. Martha. She was from Cincinnati, Ohio. I guess that she said that this is the second theory that we talked about a minute ago. Said that the boy was disabled and didn't speak. And see, that's why I said this one is the one that I think it is. And she said in February 1957, she claimed her mother killed the boy by slamming his head in the ground. Yeah, we read that part. Yeah, because she had mental problems. Alright, here's a new theory. Let's see. The last theory involves a couple of carnival workers with 10 children, 6 of whom died. Kenneth and Irene Dudley were arrested in 1961 in Lawrenceville, VA. Which VA? I don't know. All 6 children died of malnutrition and neglect, and all had been wrapped in blankets and dumped in various places in several states. 2 of the children's bodies were thrown in a lake, and after doing a thorough investigation, the police were able to rule out the boy in the box as one of their children. How do you know? Like this. Okay. So yeah, if you guys if you have any information regarding the boy in the box, please contact the Philadelphia Police Department Homicide Unit or ask us for Detective Tom Augustine at 215-686-3334. So yeah. Please, if anybody's heard any family story, any rumors, would you please contact the police department. I want to do a few more videos. I'm really compassionate. I'm very, what's the word? Interested in cases, especially involving children. Me being unable to have children of my own, I really passionate. There you go. Really find them interesting and really want to put their stories out there because I find it very important. They are so innocent and have never done anything wrong, and I feel like them being abused and murdered and killed is pretty messed up, and just not what humans should do. Things so innocent. Same with animals and stuff. They are very innocent and should never be treated in such way. Anyways, that's actually 34 minutes, not bad. I'm gonna let you guys go. I'm gonna add some pictures to this. Like I said, they're maybe very gruesome, but I feel like they're important. Like and subscribe. I'm gonna try to do more videos more often. It'd be great to be able to at least do one a week. I've kind of gotten out of YouTube. I've kind of been in a rut. recently. I did notice you guys really seem to enjoy my true crime, especially ones that are popping right now. I want to work on one about McCann. Now that there's been, that's not, like, some big updates happen and then it kind of let go. So I want to definitely do one about her soon. Do one about multiple serious child abuse cases. One I've been thinking about doing too. I'm going to try to keep my videos 30 minutes because I notice people get mad when I do a part 1 and a part 2. So, not mad, but they don't want to watch it. So, anyway, I'm going to cut this out now. Stay safe, wear a mask. Please, just no more rioting. What do I always say? Peace and love, everybody, and have a good day.